الأمان واجبر لكسري فكم كسر بكم جبرا.
For many hundreds of years, Sufism has been the mainstay of religious worship in Sudan.
And Sufism actually is the core of Islam. This is the way the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, was worshipping and remembering Allah Almighty. Mixing the material or the external side of Islam with the core, which is the spirit. Whenever you got something which is very affectionate, which is very touching actually to your heart, you can always move. You can notice it even in the children. When you play music, they just start to move.
Although Sufism has been the religion of the Sudanese establishment, its leaders have traditionally steered clear of politics and the pursuit of power. But now tensions are rising between Sufism and a fast-growing ultra-conservative Islamic movement with its roots in Saudi Arabia. Salafism aims to return Sudan to the most traditional understanding of Sharia law. Salafists show little hesitation in attacking Sufis, whom they accuse of modernism and betraying the original principles of Islam.
فقامت الصلاة فوق به وكان في المسجد شوال فيه تمر قال فكان أحدهم يأخذ قبضة من تمر وينطلق. تبا لهذا الفكر الصوفي، تبا لهذا الدين الذي يدين به ملايين لا يعلم عددهم إلا الله.
Until recently, its leaders have never been in a position to achieve quietly held political ambitions in Sudan. But a newfound confidence, aligned to vastly expanding numbers, has brought them into the open in a way that is beginning to shake Sudanese society.
وعمره السلفية عمرها ما كانت تفصل الدين عن السياسة، لأن القضية عندهم واضحة أن هذا الدين دين شامل. قل إن صلاتي ونسكي ومحياي ومماتي لله رب العالمين لا شريك له بذلك أمرت وأنا مسلم.
They never had nothing to do with the politics. And all of a sudden, they just shifted because they think that there is there is a big territory that they can take. And this is very much interesting because the agreement they did with the Saudi government long time ago, that they have only the Islamic teaching and they never touched politics.
وبالتالي يتعاملون معه إذا فتح لهم مجالات في مقام الإصلاح في أن يقوموا ب يعني مناصب، أن يتولوا مناصب لمقام الإصلاح. فهذا كان لا تجده من قبل السلاطين في العهد الأول، ولكن بعض السياسات في الحكم وخاصة في السودان.
The main target for Salafists is the youth of Khartoum, particularly those studying at university, whom they see as tomorrow's leaders.
في أوساط الشباب، باعتبار أن الشباب هو الفئة المستنيرة التي تقبل العلم بأدلته في زمان صارت المعلومة عند الناس وعند الشباب كطائم مصير لا بد لها من التوثيق.
Although female Salafist students dressed in full niqab would not speak with us, Their male counterparts were proud to boast of what has become the fastest growing movement at Khartoum University.
ماشية شديد جدا حتى قلت لك كل سنة عدد الطلاب الملتزمين بيزيدوا والنشاطات ماشية زايدة والنشاطات الدعوية والمحاضرات والدورات ماشية زايدة.
Their posters adorn the walls of the university, and the message is clear. We are coming. Their student leaders have no hesitation in linking religion and politics.
لأن الحركات السلفية في جامعة خرطوم هي خطابة أقوى، لأن أصلا الفهم الصحيح للإسلام والسلفية بمسمى السلفية مبناها على إنه الحاكمية لله عز وجل، وإن المسلم خاضع لربه سبحانه وتعالى في كل شؤون الحياة في شتى المجالات، سواء في المجال الاجتماعي أو الاقتصادي أو السياسي، في كل ذلك يخضع.
Sufi leaders accept that they were slow to recognize the trends.
In a sense, we are late, to be honest, because the Salafi are more organized than the Sufi people. But I think we need to shift. We are late, but this is a lesson for us. There is big amount of Sufi people who are not very pleased for what is happening in Sudan.
However late in the day, the Sufis intend to fight back.
We cannot just fight what is happening in Sudan with bare hands. No. We need to have the facilities. We need to have ourselves organized. We need to use the media. We need to have our own media. We need to have our Islamic teaching launched to universities. A hell of a lot to be done, but we'll never surrender.
But many believe that the spread of Salafism is almost unstoppable.
It's already crossed the boundaries, the regions, in the Gulf area, in North Africa, in West Africa, in Central Africa, and in East Africa. Huge numbers of Salafi are growing in Sudan. Even if you witness their places, their mosques, you will find that they agglomerate and they gather in specific days and in specific mosques. And if you just take a glance or a simple observation, you will find that these people are so many.
Other analysts believe the move amongst the young towards Salafism has come through frustration at those currently in power.
Many students are not happy with the Muslim Brotherhood movement, which in Sudan calls itself the modern Islamic movement. They see a gap between the ideals and the practice. They are critical of the behavior of the Islamic government, corruption, lack of consultation, and therefore, rather than moving towards secular or leftist ideology, they move rightwards toward more fundamentalist ideology.
President Bashir has pronounced on numerous occasions that his long-term vision for the country lies in implementing strict adherence to Sharia law.
The deep religious sentiments is in reconciliation with the Islamic ideology of the government. And this is the tool, or this is the way that the regime in power is appealing to the public opinion.
والله أنا أتفائل خيرا أتفائل خيرا كثيرا باعتبار أن الساحة السياسية بعد ذلك تفتح مجالا كما صرح بذلك حكامنا لنشر الإسلام ولتطبيق شريعة الإسلام هذا في بلادنا هنا، لأنه في العهد الأول كنا نحن من قبل الحكام نمنع كسلفيين ونحارب من قبل السلطة في أن لا ننشر هذا المنهج السلفي. فلكن الآن نحن في الساحة في باب الحشاشم اللي شبكته.
But for moderate Muslims, like Omar El-Fadli, that the government appears to be becoming more conservative runs the risk of further alienating the majority of young people.
Today, more than 70% of the youth who don't belong to any political party, they're not represented. We know that we lack freedom, we lack rights, laws are not clear. So the youth, within their own world and their own problems they face every day, they go out after graduation, they don't have a chance.
It's going to turn out to be like Egypt, and I mean, most of us, like people in the streets, right? They're all countless. They don't have money. The jobs are really bad right now. Like doctors don't have any jobs anymore, and it's just going worse and worse and worse. And people are just not gonna, sit and be happy with it. They're all gonna come out. I'm sure it's gonna happen, but I don't know if it's gonna happen now.
If many thousands go out on the streets, will you join them?
Right now? No, I don't think so. Right now, I don't think so.
Can you see Bashir being overthrown?
No comment. I don't know. It's a possibility.
Bit dangerous to talk about today.
Yes.
And yet, historically, it was here amongst the students of Khartoum University that previous revolutions to overthrow unpopular governments were plotted and carried out.
One of the reasons why there is no revolution in the streets is that there is no symbol of opposition. Okay, nobody is the leader of the Communist Party, Maulana Muhammad Osman, Sadiq al-Mahdi, all of them, they say we are opposition to the government, but none of them is a symbol. Okay, none of them is a model for youngsters or the masses, the common people, to go on the streets to bring them back to power. You ask any Sudanese, are you willing to risk your life in a demonstration so that any of these older leaders come back to power? The answer will be no. What for? I mean, they have been here for the last 40 years, and nothing, they didn't really do anything for the country.
But even in the absence of a symbol of opposition or a united cause, it appears that unrest has been growing in recent times.
It has already started, in small scale maybe, because of this problem of unemployment and poverty, and as they perceive it and see it, the unjust distribution of the wealth of the nation. But also they see the corruption that is rampant and that is clear, and so they want to change that. But the government has clamped down heavily on these uprisings that have started in different parts of the country.
حملة قرفنا حملة قرفنا عاملين مخاطبة جماهيرية مخاطبة جماهيرية شنو؟ حملة شنو؟ شباب عاملين لنا نحن تعال يا ذل شباب معاك وينهم؟ ما دقيقة هذول امشي معي عاملين لنا الناس بتحتغل شيء؟
في السودان إذا إحنا عايزين ننظم أي اعتراض أو أي مظاهرة أو أي احتجاج سلمي بدون أي عنف بنواجه بأنه الشرطة بتمنعنا لأنه ما في حرية تعبير بنواجه بأنه بيعتقلونا بيقدموا فينا بلاغات ضد إنه نحن أسينا ضد الدولة جرائم ارتكبنا جرائم ضد الدولة.
Manahil Ibrahim, a recent graduate of Khartoum University, is a leading voice of the opposition group Garifna, which literally translates as fed up. Like many similar groups throughout the Arab world, Garifna uses the internet to spread its message, with President Bashir its #1 target.
إذا كرفته ما تزعل، عندك صابونة قرفنا. بعد 20 سنة بدون تغيير الموضوع ما هي. عاوز ليه وداعي وداعي وداعي. لكن النتيجة تعجبك.
والسودان عنده تجربة بتاعت انتفاضة وثورة في تاريخه أكثر من أي بلد تاني. إحنا عندنا التجربة دي وإحنا شعب لا يقهر، وسونر ليتا إحنا حننظم روحنا وقاعدين فعلياً بننظم روحنا بأي شكل.
The demonstrations follow a pattern where the leaders are arrested by security or police. Manahil claims that many of her associates have been tortured. But in Sudan, such claims are difficult to prove either way. Asim Altikana, head of the student wing of the governing party, the NCP, agreed to meet with Manahil. He argues that President Bashir is in fact popular with the masses and that opposition to him is negligible.
وشهدوا الناس كيف أن البشير خرج إلى الناس وكيف أن الناس استقبلوه. فإذا قسنا ذلك ببقية الأحزاب التي عندما خرجت أو خرج قيادتها إلى الشعب لم يستقبلهم أحد، فهذا دليل واضح على شعبية المؤتمر الوطني. والمؤتمر الوطني هو جاء حسب رغبة الشعب السوداني.
الناس اللي ما طلعوا طبعاً كلام عاصم اللي قاله ده غريب جدا، زي كأنه ما على أرض الواقع. الناس بتخاف من الأجهزة الغمعية لأنك لما تطلع الشارع البوليس بيضربك. تاريخيا نحن عندنا يعني ناس كتار معتقلين هسي ومعتقلين في الأيام اللي فاتت واعتقلتوهم وضربتوهم ودخلتوهم وحاكمتوهم. إذا كان أنت بتعترف بحرية التعبير أنت ليه ما قدرت تعمل الحاجة دي؟ أنت ليه ما قدرت تديهم حق التعبير وخليهم يتظاهروا؟
هي حرية جيدة لأنه الآن متاح لكل الأحزاب إنها تقول الكلمة اللي هي دار تقولها، وكل الأحزاب عندها جرائد تتكلم عن نفسها. والآن ممكن الرئيس الجمهورية يسب يعني أو يلعن سواء كان في الجرائد أو سواء كان في منابر الطلاب. خاصة أنا أتكلم عن باعتباري طالب في جامعة الخرطوم. جامعة الخرطوم باعتبارها جامعة رائدة، أي شخص يستطيع أن يتحدث ويقول ما يرى في النظام من عيوب أو من مشكلات.
I call Sudan the land of uncertainty. You sleep, you don't know what's going to happen tomorrow.
Professor Mustafa al-Bashir was dismissed from his position as Vice-Chancellor of Khartoum University for writing articles which criticized the government.
Those who are sitting on the top are always, of course, have this dilemma or fears of stability. They have to have this very firm grip.
They fear for their own positions, don't they? They fear for their own position.
Definitely. I have written in that, actually, and even concerning the financial resources of this country, most of it is going now or is used for security purposes, to protect the ruling people and to protect their interest, and to, that is a major element, definitely.
What makes his sacking more significant is that he is a member of the Muslim Brotherhood and was originally one of the government's strongest supporters.
I thought probably when the Islamists, they came to the government, they are going to make a real change. But to my disappointment, that did not happen. And I feel still we are not doing what we are expected to do.
Political Islam has been a failure.
Because of many reasons, to some extent, definitely. When poor steals, you cut the hand. But when somebody who is in a higher ranking position steals, you ignore. And that was a big crime, actually, in Islam. This is a statement of the Prophet, actually. So the implementation is not as supposed to be. A change is needing, and the message is coming from many people from within the National Congress Party, from the opposition party, from the youngsters through the internet. Now a lot of messages have been exchanged calling for change, and a day will come we have a change. But hopefully we want to see it soon, better than late. Yeah.
Saeed Tabidi, who had returned to Sudan from the United States to consider resettling in his homeland, had been surprised at the lack of protest considering his country's history of revolution.
Here in Sudan, we went out on the street several times, and every time they go out on the street, they change the government in one day. In one day, because everybody comes out. But this time people are not the same. Even people in the capital here, they're from all over. They are not one nation anymore. That's one of the reasons that we are different. We are totally different. There's Sufis, there's Salafists, there's other tribes, a lot of other tribes, a lot of people that speak even different languages. So we are not the same. People are not gonna make any uprising or anything. I don't think so.
Saeed has now spent 2 months with elder brother Bulbul and his family. Bulbul's own frustration with the government lies with the fact that he believes that they will create distractions to stop people even thinking about change.
يعني الحكومة عشان تقعد لازم يكون في حرب. عشان الحكومة تقعد تستمر تكون موجودة لازم يكون في حرب، يكون في مشاكل. لكن بدون مشاكل حيقعدوا كيف؟ بدون مشاكل الناس حيبتدوا يفكروا في انهم عايزين يكونوا great nation، أمة عظيمة، صح؟ أول ما الناس يبتدوا يفكروا عايزين يتحضروا، عايزين يتعلموا، عايزين يفكروا بحرية، عايزين يتكلموا بحرية.
For Omar el-Fadli, while he's troubled by the state of the country, there is comfort in the fact that at least people like Saeed appear to be ready to return to try and change things.
I'm truly very pessimistic. If we go out of the capital, you'll find there is no clean water, there is no electricity. I admire a young guy like my friend Saeed. It takes courage, it takes sacrifice to come from a well-developed countries with a developed system, with security, with all what you can call as welfare and so on, to leave that, to come back and be part of an undeveloped country and fight. It takes courage, it takes a lot of sacrifice.
You came here with an open mind. What's your decision?
Going back to the States. Going back to the States. Till something happen here, change or anything, then I'll come back again.
Not before?
Not before.
With the economy stagnating, a rise in religious conservatism, and a nervous government desperate to keep protests down, it's unlikely that Saeed Tabidi will choose to move back to his homeland anytime soon.